Hey there, welcome back. Now in this lecture, let us talk about throttling. Now throttling is something similar to permission, but there is a big difference. So let me get back to my code base. So when we use permission class, we have the power to restrict access either by checking user if they are authenticated or not, or we can create our own condition like we did for review system. But when we are using throttling, we have the power to restrict user according to number of requests they send. The best example is medium.com. Without registering, they only allow 25 to 30 requests. That means 25 to 30 blog post read. After that, you have to register and create a free account. Something similar we need to follow here. We are going to add restriction to our movie list link. So our watch list link. So at currently we can access anything, any number of time. But here now we are going to use throttling and restrict maybe 50 requests per day or maybe 10 requests per second or per minute. Now this is important for your API. Why? If we add an open API, there are chances bot will send X number of requests, or there are chances that you are selling your API to certain users and you just want to have restriction. And throttling is the best way to restrict. There are three common type of throttling requests, and the two most common is anon rate throttle and user rate throttle. Before jumping onto the throttling part, I just want to mention that we previously discussed about JWT authentication, which was optional, and if you skip that part, it's totally okay. I have just commented them. So all the changes we did with JWT authentication are in comment form. So nothing is going to affect you. Everything that we did with JWT is in comment form. So if you missed the lecture or if you skipped the lecture, you don't have to worry, because complete code part is same that we left just after the token authentication. I hope you got the idea, and don't worry about JWT authentication. If you skip that, it's totally fine. We are going to use token authentication now for complete throttling and next further parts. Now let me get back here. So there are two common type of throttling requests that we are going to use. The first one is anon rate throttle. The second one is user rate throttle. Anon is basically for anonymous user who are not registered on our website. User rate throttle is for users who are registered on our website. So we can use both setting. The first one is global setting, in which we need to add code in our settings.py, and then it will be applied to all the views. The second one is local settings, in which we have to specify on each views point. So you can specify that this can be accessed by anyone for any number of time, but I need to add restriction to this particular class. So that can be done. Now the next thing is we can specify the throttle rate. Anonymous user can send X number of requests per day, or registered user can send X number of requests per day. Now you can change the request according to your requirement. Maybe you want to send 100 seconds. That means 100 requests per second. Or maybe you want to add settings like 100 requests per minute. It's totally according to your requirement. Don't worry, we are going to do everything practically. You will have proper information about them. So these are the two things, and then to add throttle class, all we have to do is use throttle underscore class like we did for permission class. So if you remember here, we need to follow something similar if we are using class-based view, and then we need to mention and import it. If we are using function-based view, we need to do something similar, @throttle class, then mention the class and make sure to import that. That's it. And the other information, how they identify the anonymous user, that is done through IP address tracking, and how they verify a user, that is through username, or we can say user ID. So that's done. That's the complete thing that you need to focus. Now we can also work with custom throttle. We can just import our throttle class and then overwrite it. Also there is scope rate throttling that I will be discussing later once we get the basic idea. Otherwise it is going to be too much information without practical stuff. So in the next lecture, let us start practical stuff. We are going to import everything and then test out the restriction part. That's all. I hope this lecture was helpful. Thank you for following, and I see you guys in the next one.